again. Welcome to the End2End Podcast. I'm your host, Jonathon Howe, with my co-host here, Eric Moss.
Hey, what's up, guys?
Crazy week and a bit in sports. We're taping this one a little later than our scheduled Friday tapes out for Saturday. But I think that's probably for the best. After all, this weekend was a gong show in the sports world.
Yeah, it was nuts. Like, politics and sports, they shouldn't be mixing, but they do sometimes. And
It all started with
Donald
Trump, of course, where most controversy starts these days. But I don't want to have a lot of opinions on this because it's not really something that appeals to me, or not appeals to me, but applies to me. I'm white and I live in Canada. I don't have to deal with a hate-mongering president and a country divided. But at the end of the day, when it comes to people having the right to freely protest and peacefully protest and not lose their jobs, I'm kind of all for that, as most decent human beings should be. But it is what it is, I guess.
It's going to make for a bad podcast because I don't oppose you on that. It literally makes no sense as to why the president of the United States is basically just like what Kobe had said. His name just drives hatred amongst people, and drives the people of the United States against each other, which as a president or like a leader of any country, that's not your intended role or what you intend to do. You're supposed to unite people and bring people together in a positive way, and he's clearly not achieving that throughout his tenure as president. And it's just gone over. It's gone over into sports as well. And
let's recap a little bit of this story in case you were living under a rock for the last week and a half. But
I was.
Moss was, apparently. Great. This is going to make for a great podcast.
I wasn't actually, but
yeah, we were too worried about our fantasy hockey draft.
Yes.
Well, we'll get to that in a second. So it all kind of started with the Golden State Warriors debating whether or not they were actually going to go to the White House, and there seemed to be some split in the locker room about whether they wanted to actually go.
I think it was just Steph Curry saying that he didn't want to go, and then President Trump said President Trump just acted like a fifth grader where he has his birthday party, and then somebody says they don't want to go, and he's like, "Oh, you're not invited anymore." Basically, Donald Trump's acting like a fifth grader. And saying, "Oh, Steph Curry, you're not invited anymore to my party where we celebrate you guys winning the championship. No, you're not coming." That's basically what he did.
And as a whole, the Golden State Warriors were like, "Well, if Curry's not going, we're all not going."
Yeah.
Which
makes
that's
sense.
more than fine. And if they don't want their star player's not welcome there, obviously I feel like it's a good on the team that they actually stood by him. And
exactly. I
mean, I'm sure he's not alone in his opinions that the president isn't exactly doing the best job of running their country right now.
Yeah.
So, and then Trump decides to go off about the NFL and speaking to a crowd in Alabama and taking to Twitter, of course, his favorite weapon. He discussed the idea that if NFL players want to continue not standing for the anthem and protesting during the anthem, that their owners should just fire the players altogether and they should just be sent home and out of a job.
Yeah, you know what? I think Trump should just stop tweeting stuff. I don't think anything good's come from it.
Well, that's what I don't get. I just don't understand how he has people in his camp that allow him to be on social media.
Yeah, like how has his PR team not said, "You know what?
We got to take this away from you.
We got to take this away from you." Like
I just don't get how you can let someone just run rampant like that. And
can't they just make a fake Twitter account for him with no followers and just have him tweet out that from that Twitter account? And maybe he's not smart enough to know that. I don't know.
No, I think he is smart in that he uses Twitter as his weapon, and that's why an anonymous account for him wouldn't do anything. It wouldn't do any good because doesn't attach anything to his name. Think about who he is as a legacy.
Oh, yeah.
His legacy is Trump. Trump everything. Trump golf courses, Trump hotels, right?
Exactly.
He needs that spotlight on him 24/7. And right now, Twitter's his perfect, his most useful tool for catching people's attention and getting himself in the public eye.
Yeah, no, he needs to have the attention of everybody, and like I don't know what he'd do without people's attention.
Why can't we boycott Trump Twitter instead of boycotting the NFL?
Yeah, exactly. Like, so much more better would come from that, actually. Like, yeah, people wouldn't be driven apart. But yeah, no, it's crazy that he's telling, like, backtracking there a bit, telling the owners that, hey, you know what, you should actually just fire the guys that protest during the anthem. And technically they can. It's a private institute, like, it's a private company, basically,
Private
the
enterprise.
NFL. And you can technically
but I'm
do that, but it's
sure
not smart. But you technically can. But yeah.
there's a whole bunch of legal complications with doing that because
Oh yeah.
I mean, I'm not as familiar with their sort of their rights that are covered and protected under the First Amendment or all the amendments. But
I think it doesn't count if it's a private, because you don't have to hire. I don't know how it works. I was gonna say because you don't have to hire.
Well, in
for a
Canada,
protest,
there's lots of there's the idea that you can't discriminate when
Yeah.
it comes to employment, and if someone has, everybody has the right to peaceful assembly, and that's not going to change. That's not going to change if you get fired. Like, you still have that right, and there's been cases in Canada where employers have violated the rights and freedoms of their employees, and they've gone to court for it. And so I'm not sure if the same thing can happen in the States, but all we know is that when we look at their rights, like, it's written right there. It's the first one that you have the right to free speech.
you don't even have to read that much.
Yeah, like, it's right there.
It's the first one.
So
It's not even like it's number 37 where you're kind of getting bored of reading these things. You got to start at 1.
I just think I really applaud a lot of the ownership groups and the owners that have come out in the NFL and come out in other parts of the sports world and said that, you know, maybe they don't necessarily agree with what's going on necessarily. You might want to stand. You think that it's the respectful thing to stand for an anthem. But to come out and say our players have their right and we have their support, or they have our support in whatever they want to do, as long as it's peaceful and as long as it's respectful protesting. Like, if you look at half the guys that were kneeling or sitting, they still had their hands on their hearts. It's not like they hate America. They want to.
It was just a time where everything stops, and they actually, like, the cameras are focused in directly on them. Like, the rest of the game, it's, you know, they're being hit. They're obviously on the ground at points, but, like, nobody in the middle of the game is kneeling.
Yeah.
Like, partway through the game. They don't want to affect the actual play on the field.
Yeah, at the end of the day.
At no other point in the game where having guys kneeling on the sidelines is out of the norm. Because guys kneel on the sidelines all the time in the middle of the plays when they're not in the action. Yeah. Kneeling's a lot easier on the... a lot less tiring than standing. Yeah. Especially with full shoulder pads and everything on, right? So...
well, there was a time, too, in the NFL where players weren't actually in the locker room. Like, we saw some this weekend, some teams like the Pittsburgh Steelers didn't even come out for the anthem. But there were times where the NFL didn't have players out on the field during national anthems.
Actually?
No, they would stay in the locker room and then be brought out afterwards. And interestingly enough, in NASCAR, there was a point where drivers used to sit in their cars strapped into their gear with their helmets on and everything during anthems. They weren't out of the car standing for that either.
Well, yeah, that makes sense because that's not like a split-second thing to get into those cars, right?
Yeah, it's another process afterwards. But, I mean, things have changed. Then I think it was probably around 9/11 that they actually started to be out of their cars for the anthem. But there was a time, where all pre-race ceremony, they were strapped in, ready to go, and with their helmets on, and it's not like they're necessarily listening and respecting the anthem when they're trying to psych themselves up to go race 500 miles and stuff.
They're probably on the on their walkies talking their pit crew.
Yep, and at that point, nobody was talking about that stuff. So, but of course, now in the hyper, everyone is sensitive and gets offended at everything, no matter which side of government or whatever side of politics you align yourself. Everybody gets offended about something now.
Oh, it's nuts. Yeah.
And then of course we got the NHL response of the Pittsburgh Penguins, which is probably just the most confusing thing to come out of all of this. It just
made no sense. Like, why would you even do it? So basically, the Pens, they basically just went ahead and posted out their PR team posted out a thing saying, yeah, we're still going to the White House, just confirming what they said 3 months ago, that yes, we're going to the White House. And what's the reasoning for saying it now? Literally nobody was asking them to see, oh, are you guys going to the White House? Just don't comment on it.
And well, all they've done is create controversy for themselves, right? Because now Crosby and Malkin and all these guys are going to have to deal with those questions.
Exactly.
When really it doesn't even matter. Like, Crosby's Canadian. It's not like he's going to see his president. He's just going to see the president of the United States. Like,
I know. Like, and the thing is, like, with the Pittsburgh Penguins, most of the team's Canadians, Europeans,
and Russians.
Well, yeah.
You're
Russia's
counting Russian.
Technically part of Europe. It depends on where Russia they are. But yeah, basically, not many Americans on the team. And I think they have one non-Caucasian player on their team.
Yeah.
One African American, or he might be African Canadian. But yeah, like, of course, hockey says, "Oh yeah, we have no problem going."
Yeah,
oh, like, come on, really? Like, just
you don't have guys in the locker room who know, even if some of these like NFL players haven't experienced the kind of prejudice and the kind of hate amongst the kind of hate that exists towards African Americans and to minorities in America by the police, by authoritative figures in the United States. The chances are they know somebody or have crossed paths with someone of the same race who has experienced that. Yeah. So they're not. This isn't coming from a place of personal experience for most guys, but for some people it is. For some guys, it is coming from a place of personal experience, and I think they have every right to say, hey, what's gone on for the last, basically since the existence of the country, because they've never had equal rights, truly.
Oh, yeah, no.
They can say it, but the reality is it's not quite there yet, and I hope it's there by the end of our lifetime, but you never know with the way things are going. I just think, how can a room full of white guys understand?
Yeah.
They can't. They can't. We can sit here and talk all day long until we're blue in the face. We can't understand what African Americans, African Canadians, what minorities are facing when they deal with these situations that are coming up and causing these protests. So
yeah, no, like, we can look from like a third party perspective, but we never know what it's actually like to be on that side of the discussion there.
All right, so let's move on. I think we covered.
We covered basically the NFL there. We're not even gonna touch on the games this past weekend. Like the Jags, just after Howe ripped on their weather last week, and says that even their organization's in turmoil. They end up going up, winning by like 39 points or something ridiculous like that.
It was not a good time.
I didn't even watch the actual game. I watched a Snapchat story after of that one.
I
wasn't gonna be up for that early, but like, it was
up that early. What was it, like a 9 o'clock game?
Yeah,
like
exactly.
8 or 9 a.m. game.
Yeah.
I mean, I was just getting off work at that time, but
I wasn't up. I was sleeping still.
Oh,
It's up to like 3 in the afternoon.
Yeah, I guess you guys had a good time at the draft. But again, we'll get to that in a little bit.
I drove home.
Oh.
Like, I didn't drink.
Oh. Okay, never mind then.
I just wanted to sleep.
Yeah, that's right. You weren't drinking because I wasn't drinking either because I worked. I had to go to work.
Yeah.
2 a.m. shifts. Woo! Yeah, so Jags making me look like a fool.
Yeah.
I guess that should lead off our little new segment that we've been talking about and discussing, and that's the apologies segment where we kind of have to acknowledge the fact that we were wrong and we kind of messed some things up.
I kind of gave you a hard time back then, and I did some things that I thought were funny at the time, but now I realize they were just mean and stupid, and just wanted to apologize, and I hope you forgive me.
So I guess I gotta owe the state of Florida, and in particular the Jacksonville Jaguars, for an apology for, well, just bashing them as a whole.
Yeah, that was pretty bad. You really ripped them a new one.
I mean,
they did not deserve being ripped a new one at that time.
There's a site called Florida Man for a reason, and there's some interesting stories that come out of Florida, and the Jacksonville Jaguars have been a gong show for a long time, but...
Here we go again.
But they came out, they did their thing, they showed up, they dominated a very formidable Baltimore team, and yeah, I blew it. I'm sorry to Florida.
It.
Yeah, we're not gonna steal it. We're not gonna steal those boys. It's not a full on you blew it. This is just I apologize.
Yeah. He apologizes.
Watch your profanity.
I have nothing to apologize for because I'm never wrong.
I think you owe me an apology for the 2 swears that you said on this podcast that I had to go in and edit out and download a little beepers thing and everything to put in.
Yeah? Well, I think that's a positive, actually.
What, that I had to do work?
No, we got the beeper in place.
We do have a beeper in place. Are we just going to start abusing it? Like, is this going to turn
not
into George Carlin's? Oh, okay, here we go. Now, all right. Jesus, Murph.
You had to know I was going to do that.
What the fuck?
Okay, now we're going to be on apologies tomorrow, like the next time. Come on, man.
No, you started it.
Don't abuse it. So,
right.
On to baseball. Yesterday, well, when we're doing this podcast.
Taping this on the Monday.
Yesterday, Sunday, September 24th, was Jose Batista's last home game as a Toronto Blue Jay.
Potentially.
But it's probably going to be his last home game as a Toronto Blue Jay.
Yes.
At the Rogers Center because, yeah, he's old. He's not going to be playing right field next year, at least not for this team. He might play for, like, I don't know, the Tampa Bay Rays or...
The option is there to bring him back, obviously, but
it's
that
a
option
dual
isn't...
option, and neither side's going to pick
It's
it
an
up.
$18.25 million option, I believe, or $17
but like
million
if Batista
option.
played good enough for the Blue Jays to be like, yeah, we're going to exercise the option, he would be like, no, I'm not going to exercise my half of the option because I want more. And if it was the other way around, Batista was obviously exercising his half of the option this summer. Or winter, sorry. And the Jays are going to be like, no, you're not worth $18 million.
Okay, so then we talked about last week how he was going to set the record for strikeouts for a single season for the Blue Jays, which he did. However, to put that in true context, strikeouts as a whole have been up on the year, but as have home runs. It's just been a weird kind of year for MLB. It's kind of all or nothing year. Yeah. But he still hit 20 some odd home runs. So what's the cost of a home run? Like, what is the salary?
About $1 million.
Okay, for 20 home runs, you think it's worth $1 million?
Oh no, for him.
For him,
he's getting paid what, $18 million?
Well, for him, yes, he's getting paid.
That's your cost per home run, just shy of $1 million.
But hypothetically, they come to the table and they need to start making a deal. Is there a number? Hypothetically, you're Ross Atkins. Is there a number that the Bautista camp can come to and bring to you where you actually consider bringing him back?
If I was the Blue Jays?
Yeah.
I wouldn't bring him back. There's no cost because then you're just holding down your other young guys from playing and actually getting Major League experience.
Well, who are you going to put in right field then next year?
You could put like Teoscar Hernandez, Anthony Alford. They're probably both starting up in AAA. Or you could just fill them in with some free agent signing that they have. Pretty sure they're over Batista. Batista's best years were when Anthopoulos was the GM. Mm-hmm. He really has no attachment to Ross Atkins or
Mark Shapiro.
So, like, I feel like they brought him back this offseason just because they kind of were forced to. They needed an outfielder. Batista needed somewhere to play. And, like, nobody, like, they couldn't find anybody else, so they just said, you know what, fine, we'll bring you back. We'll do this because you want a multi-year deal. We'll do this stupid option thing that both parties have to agree to. And
really,
at no
he was
point
getting
in
paid
contract
for what he did, not for what he was going to do.
Exactly.
It was almost like a courtesy to him. Like, yeah, we need you, but we don't need you this bad. But you still deserve it for what you've done as the Blue Jay, as a Blue Jay great. Because he is going to be, when it's all said and done, definitely a top 10 player in Blue Jays history, if not top 5.
Yeah, he'll be up on the like the level of
Roll of
excellence
Honor.
there.
Yeah, level of excellence.
He'll be up there in a couple years after he retires. Well, maybe he retires this year, but
you never know. I mean,
no, but I think he does get a job somewhere else. He just won't be with the Toronto Blue Jays. But it was really nice how at the start of the game, running out there, the entire Jays team just let him take the field by himself there.
Yeah,
I let him soak in the limelight for the last time there. Let the fans appreciate him.
And he gets pulled.
And then he gets pulled halfway through the 9th inning there.
Which is funny because the next play was going to be right to him if he had stayed there.
Yeah.
That next hit went right into the field there.
He made a couple nice plays, too, out during that game.
Yeah, he had a couple options. I was watching that game, and he had a couple options for really big hits. And I'm like, if Jose hits a home run here, like, it's just going to be...
I was really hoping
just pull him out of the game and, like, call it a day.
No,
I think there was one day... I think at one point he had the bases loaded, and he was up, and I think he fouled out.
He
pop flied.
No, he hit it to right field. He was just late on the ball.
Right.
He got a couple RBIs.
There was one he pop flied, but I don't think he had runners. I don't think he had runners on.
No, last at bat. Pop or fouled out actually.
Yeah,
fouled out to the third baseman. But yeah, no, I was just his eyes were just glowing during that at bat. He wanted to just crank one. I was sitting there hoping that he just give it one last ride.
That's how you want to remember him, right?
Exactly.
But I think that whole game as a whole was kind of almost like a microcosm of his entire Blue Jay career.
Yeah.
Where he had moments like he scored runs and hit big hits, and the Blue Jays were a team that day that relied on the long ball and relied on power hitting and scored a lot of runs like they did when Bautista started hitting his prime and when Donaldson was brought in, and then obviously the success that the playoff years brought.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, it just comes up a little short.
Yeah, and then, it kind of sucks as last year they don't make the playoffs here, but...
It is what it is.
But hey, you know what? He went the first, 7 without making the playoffs? So
yeah, he's used to it.
He's kind of used to it, right? But, no, it was a great send-off for him. You could tell he's pretty emotional there, talking to Hazel May of Sportsnet after the game. Just talking about the fans, and it was pretty good that they had, 40, I think it was 47,000 fans out for the last game here for that, especially when, they're totally out of it.
Well, they ended up with 3 million plus in attendance, which
is I'm pretty sure they led the American League in attendance, which is pretty crazy.
Hopefully that keeps up for next year.
It definitely won't.
I mean, Toronto seems to be a fair weather sports market, and unless you're the Leafs, you're not gonna sell out games, and even then, the tickets are all bought and paid for, but nobody seems to show up when they're really, really bad.
So that's
except for the bag heads and the jersey throwers and the waffle tossers, but that was a good year. That was a great year. Can we go back to Toronto being in tire fire?
No, because I have Frederick Anderson in fantasy hockey.
Yeah, I know.
But yeah, no, I don't think the Blue Jays end up breaking 3 million next year in terms of fans over the course of the year, just because a lot of those tickets are sold in flex packs and stuff like that, where just boost your numbers throughout the year, and they can say that they don't boost their numbers, but they do.
Yeah,
every team does.
Coming from the guy who used to sell tickets, so
yeah,
not for the Blue Jays, but
not for the Blue Jays.
You're a ticket seller.
Yeah.
And moving on to a player who also knows a thing or two about hitting home runs and striking out a lot, Erin Judge.
Just hit his 50th home run today.
Breaks Mark McGwire's rookie record for home runs.
And he's nowhere even close to catching Giancarlo Stanton this year.
No. Nope. That guy is
set
a monster.
Set a new home run record, Erin Judge, this season, and he's still nowhere close to catching.
Well, the cool thing I think about
Stanton.
Judge, well, not Stanton, but Judge, to touch on Judge first. I think Judge is setting the new blueprint for the modern baseball player. just
a
a
guy who
monster.
should be playing basketball or football. And
Yeah.
he's playing
Because
baseball.
look at how effortlessly he has gotten to his 50 home runs because he's just a
this
monster.
season, but he's also 25 years old.
Well, you have to think.
He's
I think
a
it was
late
Buck
bloomer.
Martinez. I think it was Buck Martinez that brought it up during the Blue Jays broadcast. Is that, or maybe it was Pat Tabler. One of them said the guy just hits because he's so much bigger and taller and stronger than these guys that he's playing against, or in comparison to. He's hitting fly balls. That's all he's doing. It's just they go that much further.
Yeah.
Than.
Well, he's
another
also
guy's
playing out
flop.
in Yankee Stadium, where if he hits a pop fly to the opposite field, it's carrying and just going to be a home run.
It's funny how sport, like, I feel like baseball is that one sport where you actually play has
Makes
such a
Oh,
difference.
there's a big home field advantage.
Look at Tulowitzki in Colorado, right?
Yeah.
And like Blue Jay, like the Rogers Center is still a hitter's baseball park considered, but Tulo's numbers are just never the same for whatever reason. And
I forgot Tulowitzki played for the Blue Jays.
yeah, I wish I
I
could
kind
forget
of
his
wish he
20
wasn't.
Kind of wish I could forget his $20 million salary, but
Yeah, just kind of.
yeah, that's kind of.
Is
just
there a
sitting
chance like he buys out his thing like Dwayne Wade did?
No, and speaking of that, I guess we could get to the NBA. Obviously touched on the White House story, so we won't get back into that. But we got to talk about a couple of big off-season moves, starting with Dwayne Wade. Right as training camps are about to open up, really.
Right before Media Day.
Buying out himself from his contract with the Chicago Bulls, making him essentially a free agent heading into camp.
Yeah, it's what he buy himself out for $8.5 million. He basically paid back to the Bulls to buy out his contract, which is I don't think I've ever heard of a player paying the team to let him out of the deal.
Yeah.
But yeah, I guess when he he exercised his option the day before Jimmy Butler got shipped out to Minnesota. So I'm pretty sure he exercised his option with every intention Jimmy Butler being in town and everything. And them having a chance to actually make the playoffs and everything. And then they ship him out. They say, yeah, we're going into a rebuild. And Dwayne Wade's sitting there like, dude, I'm 36 or whatever, however old he is. With
Not being a part
two
of
blown out knees. His knees are just done. Like, they're not actually blown out, but like,
Yeah,
they just
there's
get really
some
tired.
wear and tear on that boy.
Exactly. And he's like, I want to win a championship. Clearly, you're not going for a championship anytime soon.
So let me call up my old pal LeBron.
Yeah.
And that's the rumor right now, is that he's heading off to Cleveland to rejoin.
Or he could be going to OKC. Apparently, Paul George slid into his DMs. I'm pretty sure that was a quote from Paul George, too. He's like, I'm sliding into his DMs or something like that to try to get him to OKC. With making a big four.
Yes,
Like,
because...
a really bad, really
really old.
big four
older
compared to
Big Four.
Golden State.
Yeah.
Just a really bad big
OKC
four.
picks up Carmelo Anthony from the Knicks over the weekend. And they didn't really pay that much to get him, but...
No, they gave up that 3-point... Was it Doug McDermott? Was that the guy
McDermott.
that got traded?
Yeah.
That 3-point shooter. Can do a couple other things. They traded Enes Kanter as well and a second-round pick, so... I don't know. I feel like
They've done what they've needed to do to be competitive against the Rockets and
they're still gonna get.
and the Warriors.
They might win a game in the playoffs
Yeah.
against them.
The Warriors are still the superior team based on youth, because I look at those guys, and Melo's older.
Yeah.
Melo can ball still, but he's older.
Hoodie Melo. He's just got that's got to be the new uniform for him.
Yeah, just a hoodie.
You know they came with the sleeve uniform
Yeah.
a couple years ago. They just got to come out with a hoodie.
I mean,
for
if
this
there's
year.
any sport that's gonna do it, it's
Basketball, I know.
I mean, hey, they're the first ones to be putting. Well, first of the big four to be putting sponsors on. So
yeah,
on the jerseys.
I think they should do it.
I think
Hoodie jerseys.
Why not?
It's not gonna happen, but it'd be pretty funny.
I mean, you could do it as a merchandise item at the very least.
Well, yeah, but he can't wear it. That's the only time Melo's good is when he's wearing a hoodie in training camp. When he's in his own indoor gym in his house wearing a hoodie with cut-off sleeves, and he's just hitting everything. Other than that, the guy just hogs the ball. But apparently, when he plays with actual good players around him, he actually like dribbles like once or twice and then dishes the ball.
Well, we'll see. I mean, he's got some good players now. He's got the league MVP, Russell Westbrook.
Yeah. Who this past year didn't pass that much. Well, he passed about 10 times a game to get his 10 assists, and
That's what I was thinking. Like, if Wade goes, like, all 4 of those guys are guys that like to have the ball in their hands. So how are they going to figure out to, get their touches? Like, I just don't understand. But,
I think when you're, like, those 4 guys are superstars in the league, you figure it out. It's not like I feel like they'd be able to figure it out, and you'll learn how to play it with each other. It probably takes a month or 2. You're not going to be putting up 140 points in the first month or 2.
If they're putting up 140, then I'll be impressed. I'll start talking about them as
staying up a bit
favorite.
Later.
Yeah, staying up a bit later, watching West Coast games.
Probably not. I'd fall asleep.
Man, I got West Coast hockey to talk about and see. I got to watch my Oilers because I ended up with about 4 of them, I think, on my fantasy hockey team this year.
Yeah, you didn't you ended up with 4 Oilers. You didn't get any of the good ones.
Well, I mean, McDavid was kept as a keeper. Draisaitl was kept as a keeper. Talbot is a good keeper. I will defend that. Talbot is a great keeper for fantasy hockey players because he's going to start 60 games, 65 games. And in most leagues...
I can't believe you kept him, though.
Well...
Like, you could have drafted him in the 3rd round.
Yeah, but who else was I going to keep on that team? Ristolainen, who I ended up taking in the 3rd round anyways?
Which was a train wreck. I can't believe you took Rasmus Ristolainen in the 3rd round.
Oh, get over it, analytics guy. He's going to put up points. He's the next Victor Hedman.
Sure. No. Who'd I get? I think I got in the 3rd round. Who'd I get? Oh, I got Werenski.
Yeah, you beat me to him. Werenski. I wanted Werenski.
Yeah, I took Werenski right before he took Rasmus Ristolainen. Big drop off.
Yeah, well, that was the guy. These were the guys
that was the next defenseman picked, man.
Yeah, well,
I think I got that Jakub Slavin. I've mispronounced his name there probably off Carolina. He's the number 1 guy.
Noah Hannafin. That's the real.
You drafted Noah Hannafin. I didn't even know about the Slavin guy until you drafted Noah Hannafin, and I said, "Oh, they got some pretty good D. Let me check the roster." Oh, he's 1 over Hannafin? Yeah, I'll pick him.
Whatever. Hannafin's gonna have a breakout year. I'm gonna adopt the Eric Moss strategy this year. I'm adopting it. Everybody I have on my team is due for a breakout year.
You know what? I didn't go with any breakout guys this year.
No, you went with.
I went with a
captain
bunch
consistency.
Of vets. Yeah, a bunch of vets on my roster and guys who had bad seasons last year. Like Jordan Eberle got him real late in the draft.
It could be a nice snipe if he's gonna keep up with Tavares. There's points to be had there.
Yeah, you know, and they said the exact same thing with him last year with McDavid. So I don't know about that.
Exactly. That's why I didn't take him.
Maybe playing with a worse guy maybe gets him a bit better. But
speaking of Eberle, the other guy in that trade that I ended up picking up, which going into that night I was very confident that Strome was going to be on McDavid's right wing.
Yeah.
With Pat Maroon, who is another guy I picked up. Basically, I'm just trying to leech off McDavid. If you haven't, that's my draft strategy. And
but his line mates switch all the time. So why would you draft a guy that would have been available 3 rounds later? Like, you reached for some of these guys.
There was no other guys I wanted. I got the guys I wanted.
Like, I thought I saw your arm pop out of its socket reaching for some of these guys. It was nuts. He's throwing his arm across the room.
Let's just look at my draft order.
Oh, it was crazy, guys. You should have been there. Guy wore a suit. He wore black on blue. Oh.
Okay, Captain Fashionable.
Oh my gosh, it was what not to wear, basically. Should have done a segment of that, basically, at our draft.
Do we have is there a way to go back and look at our draft results?
Click draft results, yeah.
Okay.
Go by team.
Yes.
Yeah, perfect.
Got that. There we go. Let's look at Sagan's Tinder in a second.
Sagan's Tinder equals fire emoji.
Okay. Sorry, I mispronounced your franchise name.
Thank you.
Where am I here?
Just look for the emoji.
40-30 grit grinders. Okay, so... Oh, wow, I took Ristolainen first. Whoops.
Yeah, you took Rasmus Ristolainen with your first pick in the draft.
Yeah. I stand by it.
First pick.
I had Scheifele already, so I had my power forward, and I had my goalie, so I was like, all right, I need a defenseman, and...
I also had 4 picks in front of you, which was fantastic.
Yeah. You did. I didn't pick until the second round.
last year.
Yeah, I didn't pick until the second round, but I had back-to-back picks in the second round.
Yeah,
which
that was because you traded your first-round draft pick and Stamkos.
I don't want to hear it. I don't want to hear it.
For a guy who had a one-off season.
Shifley? Yeah, no, he's not a one-off. He's a stud. Absolute stud. He's a stud. And Winnipeg is due for a breakout year this year.
Breakout year, yeah.
Yeah. Cam Atkinson, is that the other guy I picked who's going to be a one and done?
No, Cam Atkinson, that's a really good pick. He always performs. That's a pretty good.
Jonathan Huberdeau, I got in I believe that would be the third round.
Third pick.
With my third pick, that would have been the third round. I had one pick in that round.
Jonathan, okay, keep going.
He was injured last year. No.
Okay, for all you guys, Howe thinks that he's going to win the league, and
I'm going to beat you.
He's never made the playoffs.
Yes, I have. I made it 2 out of 3 years.
Really?
Last year was the
Snuck
first year
in
I
with
missed.
an 8 seed.
Yeah, I
right?
did actually.
Both years, 8 seeds.
Yeah, and I was like a 6 seed I think in the first year because I think I beat Gallo. I made it to the semis.
Yeah, well you didn't beat me because I won it all that year.
Yeah, well you can just take a lap. I almost had to use the bleeper there.
Yeah, I'm still at the champions table. Got my name on the trophy.
I don't care about the past, buddy.
Yeah. We're making a side bet here on the season that...
yes. Are we going to make this official?
Yeah, 100%. Right. $75 that I have a better record than you by the end of the year.
All right. $75.
Perfect. $75. Perfect.
All right.
That's how I get my money all paid back for, even if I lose the season. I'll have a better record. We're also in the same division, and I have to play him 3 times this year.
Yeah, that's going to be fun.
Oh, that's going to be fantastic.
Great rivalry.
But I want to make sure that it's all contingent on our final overall record on the year.
So not points for, not points against. It's the record on the year.
Your record on the year. Tiebreaker.
Our
is
individual.
Head-to-head.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
So if we're both at
9 and whatever.
I don't think I'll ever end with 9 wins in a year.
Well, what
I'm going to be at 15 or 16.
What do we have? 22 weeks.
22. I'm going to be at 15 or 16 minimum.
Okay.
So.
All right.
If we're both at like 15 and 7. Yeah. If we're both at 15 and 7, whoever has the better head-to-head.
All right. Okay. Let's keep going down with the breakdown of my team. Oscar Clefbaum.
Oh my God. Is he even the number 1 D-man there?
Yeah, he's quarterback in the power play.
Oh yeah, McDavid quarterbacks or power play. Who are you kidding?
He gets his touches. It's fine. It's
he touches the puck and passes it right back to McDavid.
That's a point.
Hot potato.
That's a point. We got Sammy Reinhart.
McDavid's got the oven mitts on.
Sammy Reinhart from the Buffalo Sabres.
Your team is literally consisted of Buffalo Sabres and Edmonton Oilers, and that was the running joke of the draft that all you drafted Oilers and Sabres.
I took my guys. Jacob Trouba from Winnipeg.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. You know, we got off this Buffalo Edmonton train here. We'll wait for it. Next guy.
Yeah. Trouba is
also Trouba's the 7th D-man on the roster.
No, he's not actually. He's playing first pairing with Josh Morrissey, who is the sleeper that I wanted. And
no, I saw he's playing third pair with Morrissey.
No.
Dude, there's no way they're putting
Trouba and Morrissey are the top pairing. And
I don't know what
Bufflin can't skate anymore, and Tyler Myers is toast. Toby Enstrom
shots.
No, get it? No. Don't listen to this guy. He doesn't know what he's talking about.
Yeah, sure.
Trouba's gonna be getting top line minutes.
Okay.
They're trying to trade him. He's got to get out.
They're trying to trade him exactly.
Because he wants out of Winnipeg. All right, we've been over this.
Let's draft the guy who wants out.
Next pick.
Yep.
Patrick Maroon, left wing to the Connor McDavid line.
Oh, there we go. Another Edmonton Oiler.
And going back to Buffalo with my other goalie.
Of course.
Robin Lehner, who is a surprisingly good starter to have in fantasy because Buffalo gets lit up with shots every night. So he gets his points from saves. Even on a 3-goal night, he's probably still making 30 saves.
Yeah.
So, yeah, there's points to be made.
Yeah, sure.
All right, and the next one, this was a pick I was really happy with. This in the ninth round. No, not ninth round because I started getting a lot of picks. This was probably the 6th or 7th round. I got Nino Niederreiter.
Yeah, I had him last year for a bit. Really good player.
Great player.
Big guy, gets some hits. And he gets his shots too as well. Gets some goals in there mixed in. Real good player. Next guy.
Ryan Strome.
Of course.
Hey, Edmonton. What's wrong?
Drafts the guy because he's on McDavid's wing. Come to find out 10 minutes later. He's not?
He may or may not be getting bumped down the lineup. In preseason, I believe on Saturday night, halfway through the game, Poulet-RV ended up on McDavid's right wing, and Strome was down to the third line playing with Nugent-Hopkins. But there's no confirmation as to which player is actually going to be on that wing. But honestly, Strome is either going to be on the first or third line. There's no in between. Whereas Poulet-RV I can actually see playing with Draisaitl. So if you're thinking about looking at Oilers in your fantasy draft, Poulet-RV might be a good sleeper to take in a later round. Because he made it through our entire draft without actually getting picked up. So
There's no reason for that.
yeah.
We got a 16-team league and nobody drafted this guy. Maybe you might want to stay away from him.
I think you forgot about him. He's a sleeper.
And next,
Morgan Rielly.
I am pretty mad that you took him because I was banking on him. He was real late in my picks, like real late in the papers that I had in front of me. And I was like, you know what, I don't think anybody.
We had a couple
Leaf
fans
and we did, and most of them were auto drafting.
Yeah, I guess
they went to a wedding instead.
Is DeJulie a Leaf fan?
Yes.
Okay, so yes, DeJulie and Ollie both. Shout out to those guys who had to auto draft their team. Rip.
And I'm pretty sure they have a better team than you.
No. Next guy. This was a guy who I had circled, and I can't believe I got him as late as I did. I think this was probably in the 8th round. Braden Point.
Sure. You got a team, a bunch of breakout guys.
Yeah, breakout year.
Yeah.
He's playing with Stamkos, who's probably going to get hurt. I mean...
So hold on a sec here. You drafted Point because he's playing with Stamkos. But last year you traded away Stamkos because I don't want to deal with this anymore. So now you're drafting a guy to leech off the guy that you said, you know what, he's injured too much.
Yeah.
So you're gonna cut him halfway through the year?
No, because he's gonna take over Stamkos' spot at center if he gets hurt.
Oh, oh my gosh. I don't
Braden
know
Point's a great pick. He's a great pick.
Okay, keep going.
Noah Hannafin.
Yeah.
From Carolina, great defenseman, great American defenseman. He's gonna be a stud. Great.
Sure. Yeah.
Robbie Fabry, who
nice pick.
Yeah, that was a nice pick until I realized
he's injured.
He hurt himself again.
Yeah, exactly.
In training camp.
At least you got IR spots.
I got IR spots.
Yeah.
We don't know how serious it is. He's being reevaluated in 10 days.
Oh, in 10 days. Wow, look at that. Right for the season opener.
Yeah, well, exactly. So, you know what? If you draft a late fantasy draft this year and he's there, I'd give him a take.
Yeah.
Anyways, let's look at this freaking
maybe
garbage.
you might want to draft like Ryan Ellis or somebody. I heard he's only out till Christmas. Maybe if you got an IR spot,
just take a lap.
Maybe a real late sleeper on that.
Can I get this guy out of here?
Somebody drafted him though, right?
Yeah,
D'Amico?
I
think it was D'Amico.
Oh.
Guy drafted Ryan Ellis, who's out till Christmas. Drafted Markov, who's in the KHL.
That is a fantastic defense already.
Just, I didn't think about it. Both those guys are in D.
Can someone tell him to drop Markov and put Ellis on IR and get 2 new defensemen from what's left? Oh, that poor kid.
Oh, God. I'm going to just pick up all the defensemen left on the market.
At least he's got Draisaitl.
Oh, my God.
At least he's got Draisaitl.
Oh, God. That's...
All right, let's go through this.
So, let's look at mine. Mine is so much better.
No.
So
I
had the first pick in the draft. I didn't know who I was picking.
This was a bit of a stretch.
I had a 2-minute. Well, actually, I had like a month and 2 minutes. I knew a month before the draft that I was picking first. And, I still didn't know who I was picking going into the draft. I used about 1:50 of my 2-minute span to make my pick. So, picked our Temi Panarin. Hopefully he plays pretty well.
Yeah.
No, he's playing on the
He's not playing with Kane anymore.
He's not playing with Kane, but he's playing with Wenberg, and he's also playing... Or Wenberg could be a center, or Johansson's going to be a center. Both those guys... really good players. Wenberg gets a ton of assists, so he'll be dishing Panarin the puck a lot. Johansson can put up some goals too, so Panarin can get some assists off him if that's the case, if he's playing with either of those two.
I like how Columbus ditches a Johansson for a Johansson.
Is it I don't know if I'm pronouncing him right.
Oh, well, I don't even know who you're talking about, to be honest.
Yeah, whatever. Ryan Johansson.
He's a Nashville Predator now. Where have you been?
Holy
How do you think they got Seth Jones in Columbus?
Oh my God, I didn't think... Who's their number 1 center?
Cam Atkinson, I think.
Cam Atkinson's right winger, man. Plays some NHL.
So then it's...
Oh my God. I had a full conversation the other day about this. I look like an idiot.
You're so dumb. You are really dumb. For real.
And now it's on record.
Oh my god. I need to edit this part and send it to our hockey chat. This is fantastic.
I literally thought Johansson was this. Oh my god.
And you expect people to trust your opinion on fantasy now? You don't even know who plays for what team. Ryan Johansson was literally on the Nashville Predators, a part of their cup run.
I was worried that Johansson wasn't going to be back for the start of the year because he got injured with Nashville last year. Don't ask.
Holy crap.
Wow.
Anyway, speaking of Nashville...
Why they pick Panarin? I'm joking. No, actually, from all the guys that play with Kane, not everybody actually puts up a ton of points. Like, Panarin was really the first guy that actually really thrived playing with Kane. And Kane thrives playing with anybody, but he wasn't really getting anybody consistent points. Panarin was the first guy to actually do that. I still can't believe I said that. And now back to Nashville's my next pick.
Roman Josi.
Who's his defense partner? Shea Weber? I'm joking. I know he got traded.
I like that pick. I pick a lot. That was pretty early. I was kind of surprised you took him as early as you did.
My two keepers were two forwards, so I figured I'd take a defenseman.
Especially because that was like you had the first and the fourth pick in the draft.
Fourth pick in the draft. Then
That's
I had
impressive.
the 22nd pick in the draft, but I ended up trading up a bit in the draft. The 17th pick got Jake Allen with that pick there. Goalie on St. Louis. I don't know. I feel like he's gonna be a number one guy this year.
He's gonna play, but I don't know what to make of St. Louis this year.
I don't either. I just figure he's gonna be pretty good though.
They have a great forward lineup, and they've got some talent. It's just
they got Peter Angelo on the back end.
Yeah, they got some good defensemen too. I mean, they lost Shattenkirk, but
yeah, it's fine.
I don't know. We'll see.
I feel like they're gonna be fine. Then I got Zach Werenski. Started to load up on the defense right there.
That was a stud pick.
Yeah,
he's
got two really good defensemen. 1-2 pair for me. Then 33rd pick in the draft. So it's at the start of the third round. So I had 4 picks in the first 2 rounds, which was nice.
That's the start of the third round.
Yeah, start of the third round. I got Jeff Carter. Always puts up points. Consistently puts up points.
Oh, gross.
Yeah, I like Jeff Carter. Even
though that's
Kings
are horrible. They're going to be a tire.
Kings are going to be a tire fighter, but Jeff Carter will still put up his points.
We'll see about that.
Yep. Taylor Hall was my next pick. Like I said, I picked a bunch of guys that were on that I'm looking for bounce back seasons. That's going to be my hashtag for the year. Bounce back season. Hashtag bounce back season.
These ditch the breakout for the bounce back.
Yeah, ditch the breakout for the bounce back season. Yeah. So Taylor Hall, he might be playing with that new kid, Nico Hersher, whatever. Hopefully he cracks the roster with the Devils there, and then
I mean, I'm sure he will. The
Taylor
Devils
Hall
are not a very high offensive team, which again doesn't really make sense. Why?
Exactly, somebody's got to score goals for him, so that's what Taylor Hall's there for. We got Freddie Anderson on the Leafs. Leafs are going to be a pretty good team this year, so he's going to get
Freddie's going to have to start a lot of wins too.
He's going to get and they only have 11 back-to-backs.
I think Freddie Anderson is probably your better goalie pick than Jake Allen.
Yeah, I know.
So the fact that you got him at 54.
Yeah, nobody was picking him, and he was starting to get up there, so I figured, no, we'll take him, get a second really good goalie.
This one, your next pick here, I like it, but
he's never reached his potential yet, but he's going to this season because bounce back year. Well, actually, McKinnon. Breakout player, actually. So, Nate McKinnon here with Colorado. They're looking to trade Duchesne. So, that just keeps moving Nate McKinnon up on the first line there, right? Just get rid of everybody around him, and then...
They were just such a tire fire last year.
They won't be as bad. They can't be as bad.
They were historically bad, so yes, you saying that they can't be any worse is...
I'm right.
I hope you're right, because that's...
I am right. Yeah. I'm always right. Then we
got
Tyler Toffoli.
Yep. Another king.
He had an off year last year, but this year he's going to have a bounce back season, bounce back year, right, guys? And then we got Jakub Slavin, number 1 D-man in Carolina.
I think this was kind of a reach, but...
Definitely not a reach because all the other D-men were being picked off the board. What time are we at, man?
What time? We have been going quite a bit. We are at...
I don't think anybody wants to know about my fantasy hockey team that much. That's 20 minutes.
We got 50 minutes. We got a couple more minutes here. We just have the Motorsport Minute and a Moss story left. So.
Oh, okay. Well, perfect.
Yeah.
Go back to my roster. I don't know who I have.
I'm going back. But we have to look at the line combinations because we have to see if Moss is right. Because Moss is always right.
I'm always right. No, let me go back to my thing. Okay, then who else do we got? We got Shea Theodore.
Jordan Eberle first.
Jordan Eberle playing there with John Tavares, so he's going to have a pretty good year, I think.
I'll screw the line
Hopefully.
combination.
And then we have Shea Theodore.
This was an interesting
Somebody's got to create offense on the back end for Vegas.
Yeah.
So, and I feel like he's going to get a bunch of minutes, power play time.
I really like him as a player. I've liked him since I've seen him in the World Juniors. He was definitely down the lineup in Anaheim because Anaheim is pretty stacked on the back end. But I think he's a guy who we're going to look at as maybe not a Norris candidate, but he's going to be one of the top defensemen, especially on a team like Vegas where their depth isn't there yet because they're a brand new organization.
Yeah, exactly. So I feel like he's going to be really good this year. And then I went with a couple Red Wings for the last couple picks in the draft because not really anticipating actually having these guys on my team for that long. Like literally my last couple spots on my roster every year just kind of.
This is a personal
Flyers.
Favoritism.
Yeah, no, I just saw him, figured, let's take him, let's see what happens here. So I took
Showed
Anthony
up,
Mantha, who actually is gonna be the go-to guy basically there in Detroit this year, and then Thomas Tatar, because he's got a low ceiling, but he's got a high floor. Like
he's
dangerous
dangerous for sure,
basically.
Yeah.
So he's a nice guy just to hold on to. If I was into it for the long haul with him, that'd be fine. But I'm probably not going to be into it for the long haul with him. He's probably going to be off my roster in a couple weeks. But
God, I love it. I love it.
Got to lead the league.
Easiest $75 I ever made.
Sometimes during a year, like if your team's not the best, you want to lead in some category. So I always strive to lead in player transactions. That's my go-to. If I'm not winning games, got to lead in player transactions.
I'm going to have to keep up on the Sunday pickups just to stay ahead of it.
Saturday night pickups, bud. If you're picking up on Sunday, you're not doing it right.
That's what I mean. I'm picking up for the games on Sunday.
Yep. Yeah. Okay, so what do we got next here?
We just got to touch on the Motorsport Minute. That's about it. That's we've covered a lot today. I got to watch some soccer at work as I work the 2 a.m. to 11 a.m. shifts. So I wake up at 6 a.m. on a I'm on break at 6 a.m. on a Saturday, and there's some EPL on the TV.
Oh, yeah?
I have no idea who was playing. I didn't really care, but the guys, they looked like they could really kick the ball.
Yeah?
Yeah.
I can never tell. Whenever they kick the ball in the air, I kind of lose where it's going.
Yeah, because it goes in the crowd, and everybody looks the same. Their heads all look the same as the ball.
Yeah, never got it.
Yeah. All right, you going to bust out the timer here?
Oh, yeah.
Gotta see if we can actually get through this Motorsport Minute.
Okay. Oh, tummy doesn't feel good.
Oh, muffin.
Okay.
It's because your fantasy roster makes you so sick. All right, ready. Motorsport Minute. Let's go. Okay, so let's start off with the IndyCar season wrapping up in Sonoma. That was last Sunday, not this Sunday that just happened, but a week ago. Joseph Newgarden takes home the championship, his first championship for Penske Racing.
45.
He is a young American driver who maybe has the potential to be the face of the sport going forward, the face of IndyCar. Let's touch on NASCAR. We've had 2 rounds so far of the playoffs.
30 seconds.
Truex opened Chicagoland with a win, advancing to round 2. Kyle Busch followed that up at New Hampshire with a win, and he will lock himself into round 2. Not much to talk about in the world of NASCAR. Silly season, everything seems pretty much resolved.
10 seconds.
Yeah, there's not too much going on in NASCAR land. Oh, yeah, my favorite driver got penalized for an illegal adjustment. So, well, we're just going to forget about that. But
What? My timer didn't go off.
Oh, that means I get to keep talking.
No.
Yeah.
I got a notification as soon as it...
Basically, I was just trying to tell you that Chase Elliott got a penalty, and I'm not happy about it. But
Chase Elliott, isn't he a second baseman for the Dodgers?
Is he? No.
Chase Utley.
Chase Utley.
What'd you say?
I said Chase Elliott.
Oh, I heard Utley.
Yeah.
Huh.
You need to get
I
your
was
ears checked, bud.
close. Yeah, I even had headphones on.
Jesus.
Wow.
All right. Well, it's almost time to wrap this podcast up, but we ended last week with a Moss story, and I was kind of wondering if you had anything else for us this week. You got a quick Moss story you can give the audience?
Let's see. Oh yeah, So right before I came here, I stopped at the local Circle K convenience store to pick up a slushie. It's probably why my stomach's not feeling too well. And I got brain freeze. But yeah, so stop there.
Got brain something.
Yeah, brain dead, more like. So I stopped there. Some dink driving beside me, like, goes over most of my parking spot or into my parking spot. So I got to squeeze in there right beside this this yellow Mustang. So I get out of my car, real tight to him, but whatever. Get out. Him and his buddy are sitting in their car. So I go in, get my slushie, come back out, sit down in my car, put my slushie down, check my phone before I drive because you don't want to text and drive, so you check it right before you actually go. And buddy's just sitting there waving to me. So I look over. The guy's just an idiot, just hi, hi. So I roll down my window, say hi, and he's like, "What are you doing?" And I'm like, "Looking at my phone. What are you doing?" And he's like, "Bye." And it was the weirdest conversation ever. And like, I just rolled up my window and drove here.
Oh, it's not over.
No, that was basically it. Then I drank my slushie and got brain freeze. I had a banana slushie, and there was what did I have mixed in there? I think I had mixed in there like Pepsi, cherry Pepsi or cherry Coke. I think it was cherry Coke that was on there.
Mm-hmm.
And then I think there was watermelon as well in there.
I can't wait till we start filming this podcast so people can see my reactions to your stories.
Yeah, like, do you know that emoji where it's like the guy with his like hand on his face?
Face palming?
Yeah, that's basically how.
Yeah, I'm two-handed face palming right now.
It's fantastic, actually. But yeah, no, I was face palming too, and that guy just said bye, and I was kind of just awkward about it. But yeah.
All right. Well, speaking of buys, I think that just about wraps up this week. We're getting to the YouTube portion of the podcast. The channel is being set up, and we're exploring ways to actually film the podcast.
What?
Yeah.
I have to wear clothes for this?
You're wearing clothes now. Let's not make it fucking weird. Oh, okay. Oh, and I gotta use some beeping now. I gotta do some editing.
Okay. Well, thanks for tuning in, guys. Check back in a couple days, not a full week, because we screwed up last time.
Yeah, we're hopefully gonna record the next one Friday night.
We already screwed up 1 weekend. We're setting a good standard here, guys.
Yeah, no, we're right on schedule.
Time,
yeah, we're good. So yeah, be sure to follow along on the Twitter machine at End2End Podcast. And follow along on the personal accounts too. JHowe24 on Twitter.
And Eric Moss 1818 on Twitter. If you want to add me on Facebook, don't. It's kind of just weird.
Yeah, no, just don't. Leave us alone. Leave us alone.
I don't post though.
Yeah. Who uses Facebook? What is Facebook? What is the Facebook anymore?
I don't know. My mom uses it.
Well, there's your answer.
And she kind of just likes stuff and comments on stuff.
It's become an old person thing.
Yeah, but I also like watching all those cooking videos on Facebook. Those are very entertaining.
So there's this fantastic channel on TV that you're gonna love.
It's called the Food Network, right?
Yeah.
I'm not a huge fan.
Really?
Yeah, because there's commercials.
Yeah. Well, who wants commercials on their content?
Exactly.
Which brings us to our sponsor. No, we wish.
We don't have a sponsor. If you're looking to sponsor.
Yeah, if you're looking to sponsor anything, I mean, we have a vast array of listeners already this week.
Oh, hold on here. Jerry Jones kneeled during the national anthem.
Whoa, breaking news.
Yeah.
This is Monday night. So Monday Night Football, yeah, Dallas is playing.
Jerry Jones, yeah, I thought he was like the most Republican as you could get.
It's just,
he might not be, but I don't know. He just
it just goes to show you what solidarity means to people, what it means to have your free rights, your freedoms, your free speech.
Yeah, wow, that's crazy.
Anyways, okay, yeah, we're wrapping this up. We'll try to wrap this up again. We're really bad at wrapping this up.
I know.
As someone who edited this podcast, as someone who edits the podcast, it's a bit rough.
Yeah.
But, yeah, all right. This is going to wrap up the week in sports. I've been Jonathon Howe.
I'm still Eric Moss.
For now.
And I go Chad Ochocinco on everybody.
We're Meta World Peace.
Yeah, that guy too.
Yeah. Okay. Well, for now, Moss. This has been the End2End Podcast, and we'll see you on the other end.